Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a special guest with us, Ken Cheung. He is the CEO of CareerOK and StudentOK, and he will be sharing his thoughts on leadership and student empowerment. And Ken, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Ken. Ken Cheung. I've run quite a few businesses before, quite a few startups. Some have had some success, some have had not so much success. My day job at the moment is I guess, own restaurants, and I also run a couple of platforms. One is called CareerOK, and one is called StudentOK. So yeah, thanks again for having me here as well, Renee.
No worries, no worries. You have been a strong proponent of student leadership for a very long time. I know that. What sort of like led you into down that path?
I think it's a culmination of different things, actually. When I was at uni, I was definitely involved in a lot of different leadership opportunities, and I took them. And as I was working on one of the projects, Student OK, I saw that the problems that a lot of the student leaders had actually kept popping up. So I went down the track of trying to help, and then yeah, uh, I figured that yeah, this is just a really good area to inspire people that were going to become leaders one day, actually. So yeah, that's why I started helping
That's
out
cool.
with student leadership, actually.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, and like you've mentored quite a few people. Like how did you gain the understanding of like human behavior and how students behave to be able to mentor them?
Oh, well, it's the dark arts of psychology that I studied back then, actually.
Yeah.
So I studied psych as an undergrad, and I've
Mhm.
always been like a little bit awkward alien. So me and my partner, she is a psychiatrist,
Mhm.
and one of the most fun things that we do like all day long is actually trying to understand the behaviors of different people. And like it's just like I mean, I think that just highlights how interested I am about human behavior and different things like that. So I guess that's probably where, as an underlying baseline level, I'm just interested in people.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's because, yeah, I've got a little bit of anxiety myself. So it's always just like trying to figure out, how do I fit? How do I present myself in a way that is just nice and friendly with people? And that's something that I've been looking and observing for a long time, basically. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's that, I suppose. Yeah.
Mhm. So basically like dig people's brains and like why do you do this?
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
That's delicious brains, right? At the end of the
Delicious
day.
brains. Munch. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is quite interesting, and it's the first time I've heard that your partner is a psychiatrist. Like
Mm.
it, I'm sure it's quite healthy since you guys have like proper coping strategies with a lot of like
Well,
um
we try to.
yeah, yeah, it's good. So yeah, you've mentored me and a couple of my student leader friends a couple times, and you've brought up the idea of having different leadership styles, following different sort of personality styles. Um, what do you have to say about that? Like,
I think that's actually a really good question. I think the main thing is that it's the recognition that everybody has kind of different tendencies in terms of what they are like, actually, and uh, and it's also with the understanding that there is not one type of effective leader. Um, there are some core characteristics amongst like that can bring out the most in people, but a lot of the time it's actually playing to the strength of the person, and uh, and highlighting a few other things that they haven't thought about, that can bring out the most of somebody and really get them settled into a role that's a leader. So like yeah, the long story short of it is I think the role of a leader is dynamic, there are some core things, and most often than not, it's actually pointing out things that they're not seeing. So yeah, that's long story short. That's what it is.
That's cool. And so you see all these leadership styles, right? But what sort of like common line goes through all of them?
I think I'm a very big believer that a leader is actually a servant to his people, or their people, or her people. I think if one has that attitude of serving the people that are following, or that are under that person's care, that brings out the best in the leader, and that then makes it quite dynamic as well, right? Because the situations change, people are different, right? So if the leader is geared towards looking at how they can best support these people, that's when the relationship becomes genuine. That's when the relationship actually becomes fruitful, and it helps with teamwork and team building, because the team knows that as a first priority, their needs are being looked after, or looked at constantly by that leader. Yeah.
And is there like I know a lot of leaders say that you should be always close to the action, as in like always getting feedback from all your members or all your team members. But is there a point where you should like always put down your foot and say, no, we're doing this? Or is it always a fact that like you have to accommodate both sides?
Well, I guess that's a very difficult one, because like that's okay.
Sorry.
I think that's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, like I could talk about that cerebrally and theoretically, but a lot of the time, a leader earns their stripes through experience, right? And there are nuances between when one needs to put their foot down, right? And when one needs to kind of go with the flow. And that requires a degree of just experience, to be honest with you. You could read all the books, you could read like everything about management, and there are plenty of books about that, right? But in actuality, and those help. It's not to say that they don't help, right? But I guess, as I said before, the rule is a leader should be looking after their people, and they should also be responsible for the organizations that they're leading, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those two things need to work in tandem, and there are conflicts between those two things a lot of the time. So then it's about at what point which one cuts the sharpest for it. Should the organization change for the betterment of the members, or should the member that is possibly causing the problem reconsider their membership?
Mm-hmm. That's
so
true.
It's not an easy answer, but yeah, it's part and parcel of being a leader. Everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, huge responsibility. On the note of like books and all, are there any sort of favorite books that you'd recommend for any of this kind of stuff?
There's so many books, actually. Wow. So one of the books that I really like is, as I said, I actually own a few restaurants, or I own restaurants. And a book I feel that is actually applicable to everybody, regardless of whether they are in hospitality or any other industry, is a book by Danny. I can't remember what his name is, but it's, let me see if I could look it up. Let me see if I can get the book. It's like I've got it on my computer as as
Like,
like a go-to reading list, but
huh.
my mind is a little bit fuzzy at the moment.
Oh,
So for everybody that's like not aware, I've actually broken my arm, and I'm still on
oh.
some of the pain meds, and so
Yeah.
my mind is like fuzzy. So yeah,
Yeah, you didn't
one
actually
should.
say what happened. Like, did you fall down? Did you? Or was
Oh
it
well, yeah. I was playing a bit of soccer, and it was the second time I've come back in about a year. I hurt myself again last year, and then I stopped.
ouch.
Uh, it's really funny for everybody that I look after.
Mm.
But yeah, I fell backwards, had my arms outstretched, and it's a bit of a freak accident. And then what
Oh.
happened was 3 of my ligaments got torn, and I had a fracture in
Mm.
uh, in the elbow, and that was floating around in the joint. So I had to have surgery last week. So I'm a little bit like fuzzy still, but I've got the book now. So the book is actually called Setting the Table, and it's
Uh-huh.
by Danny Meyer. And it's actually the takeaway from the book, if you like, everybody's like TLDR right nowadays, but like
Mm.
the 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 takeaway from the book uh, is that the responsibility of whoever's leading any organization, and particularly in the hospitality industry, is that they should be looking after their staff first, even before investors, because it creates a cycle that actually builds the rest of the team up and allows for the staff to actually come to the fore and do what they do best. So you hire for people that are passionate about uh, people and members.
Mhm.
And as a result of you then facilitating and building them up and looking after their interests first, right? You are then equipping them to do the best that they can for those people. And Danny Meyer is like really, really famous in terms of like the hospitality industry. So he was a guy that set up like he's got like 3 or 4 different really, really well-known restaurants in New York.
Mhm.
They are world class. I think some were voted in the top 20
Whoa.
for quite a subsequent few years. So in terms of like books, that took a long time. In terms of books, this is one of the books that I really, really enjoy, and I use as a reference for my practice.
Mhm.
Uh, like as I said before, different leaders have different things that they need, and often it's like the prompting of a reminder, and it's through the experience that actually makes a difference. You could not read a thing, and that's totally legitimate as well. But expect to fail as well. There's a lot of for me. I love things like strategy. So there, like, another book could also be like Sun Tzu's Art of War, which is actually ironic because it's more about fighting forces and things like that. And it's like a really old book. But it's also a book that talks about the appropriate way to look after the people that are in your, I guess, control. I don't like using that word, but it's in your
Like sphere of influence, I would say.
sphere of influence. That's right.
Yeah.
But in that book, it's about control. So that's that. There's just a lot. I think the nature of for most people or anybody is that, like, as a leader, one wants to facilitate uh, personal growth so that they can look after people.
Mhm.
And that requires understanding of themselves and understanding of their team. And any book that is actually related to that or that sphere
Mhm.
gives you insight. I would even say fiction books will give you an insight into that sphere because it opens you up to different perspectives of things that you might have not have thought about in the past. I was quite a voracious reader when I was younger, and I now am as well, but I don't get the chance necessarily to sit down and read fiction a lot.
Mhm.
But I'm constantly throughout my day reading about 100 different things. And yeah, it's just, I'm consuming content at a very, very high clip, I think. So
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. that's that in terms of reading, I suppose. Mm.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, yeah, it's good to hear that you are a very voracious reader. Like, we don't ever like apply the term bookworm when we're adults, but I don't think that should be the case.
Reading or consuming information
Mm-hmm.
is actually part and parcel of the society that we live in at this point,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just more about like if you want to refine a craft or if you want to learn to be better, it's actually really good to get the perspective of others. That's what reading does. That's what watching movies or consuming other content does. If you look at it and you say, okay, how do I apply myself in a different way in this situation, right? Or how can I see from another point of view? That actually facilitates growth in oneself, right? Reading does that at a pace that allows you to contemplate that idea. And for those people, like most leaders I know, and I speak to many, right? Um, they all read, and they all read
Absolutely.
as a means to perfect their craft, but they also read extremely widely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because uh, it's in that, I guess, humility or even just that interest, right? Um, that's where you can hone uh, yourself.
It
And
is,
that's,
yeah.
yeah, being a bookworm is cool.
It is very.
Yeah.
I think I read that like really famous book. What was it? Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, I think. You know
Yep.
that one? Yeah, and it's like it said something about not consuming while producing, and it's like shouting at the internet, listen to me while not listening to anyone else. So that's like that was a really huge point, and it was like that is true. So by consuming content, you're not wasting time or anything. You're just learning new stuff.
Yeah, there's a full push in society for us to be experts straight away, right?
Hmm.
When actually uh, it's I love like wisdom kind of knowledge and a lot of kind of like wisdom, like sorry, wisdom knowledge, wisdom reading, and there's plenty of that. And a lot of kind of wisdom reading starts off from the point of keep your mouth shut, actually. But the reason why that's the case is actually through being quiet and observation, you're actually able to form your ideas better, right? And not, um, uh, yeah, not take a position straight away. And in that, that's how you work out where you stand.
Hmm.
Think fast. Yeah, excellent. I think it's think fast, act
Think
slow.
fast and slow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that book is also really good as well. Mm.
Mhm. I want to ask you, like, what do you do to meet the right sort of people to help you sort of advance in your career? Oh, it sounds so pretentious. Anyway,
Oh, no, it's not pretentious. I mean, like it's a very reasonable question. Like a lot of people be strategic about it, and uh, this is so interesting. It's like a passion area of mine. I think, remember what I said before, which was about facilitating and growing yourself and being a leader that um, that is serving other people. I think an attitude of trying to advance yourself by being strategic and to get to certain people, and that does have its benefits. But if anything, if you're not genuine, right, and you're not, if you don't know who you are and what you're about, at what point will you cut it off? It actually causes, uh, well, it's actually, you can see it from a mile away. If you're not genuine, people read you from a mile away. So, to be honest, right, a lot of the, uh, I guess, the networking that I've done over a lifetime. So, for those of you that have probably seen it or may not have seen it, I also run like an interview series with one of the startups I run called CareerOK. And we talk to some world leaders. We've had people that have produced Crazy Rich Asians on it. We've had people that have got into graduate programs straight away. We have got leaders that have that are at the forefront of their profession. So we had a data scientist come in, and he is leading the charge of the neobank. We've had plenty of different leaders. Most of those people are actually just my friends, to be honest. And they're friends not because of what they've done, it's just friends because they've kind of drifted into my life, right? And there has been no planning or strategizing or anything else. They've come through my life. For example, the Crazy Rich Asians producer, I've known since high school, which is funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think that where we live in an age where like the internet is like super powerful. You can see friends from 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, right? Online. I think that to answer your question properly, I think it takes a long time to build up a good network, and that good network is facilitated by somebody that is genuine to others. And if you are genuine to others and other people respond to you rather than, going out there and being strategic with certain things, I think over time you amass people that are brilliant. You amass people that are amazing. As I said before as well, I've got a particular quirk, which is I'm always interested in people's behaviors. And that also comes with another thing, which is I've always just been interested in people, and it being interested in a genuine way.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, that's facilitated, like, as I said, like there are people that are world leaders that are within my networks. It's just because I'm interested. And there are also people that are not, that are very, very far down the other side. Yeah. And like, I'm like picking at a lot of things that we've spoken about already, right? But reading gives you the opportunity to see the world through a different set of eyes. But getting to know people from all walks of life actually gives you also that opportunity as well. If you're able to talk to somebody that is probably not as privileged or not as, hardworking, it gives you an understanding of why that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not credible where they're coming from. But when you get a chance to talk to somebody that's like extremely brilliant according to the rest of what the world says, you also see how they're shuffling or reorganizing their life or what they're doing. And that's also very interesting as well. So like my best answer for you, Renee, with this is, yeah, you can be strategic if that's the thing that you want to do. But I think the thing to think about is how do you be yourself and be genuine to those people and be able to see from their perspective what's happening. And you could write it down on a sheet. I'm actually more directed that way myself. Write it down on a sheet, figure out this person that I really, really want to know. Like, I don't know, Warren Buffett, or I don't know if it's Warren Buffett, but like some type of leader, and go, what are the steps to get there, right? But once you get there and you talk to this person, like, or you become their friend or something like that, if you're not genuine,
they'll see it. Like,
they'll see it.
Yeah, people know. Yeah,
and you realize that to get to that point, it's been a lonely journey. What's the purpose of that? Yeah, it's very philosophical, isn't it? Anyway,
that's good. I would like to sort of discuss also the socioeconomic sort of statuses that what it brings to the table when you do this, because if you get to go to uni, you get to go make a lot of connections through there. Like, you have friends, and those friends may become like amazing people. But if you don't, and there's like that sort of divide, And what do you think people can do to overcome that?
Let me tell you the biggest lie that society tells you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that you have to get good grades, that you have to go into school very early. When you're 5 or 4, spend 12 years and do the best that you possibly can. Get into university, right? And get extremely good grades and meet the right people. And then after that, you get into a graduate position that is well known, and you can then conquer the world. Truth of the matter
That's a
is,
lie.
that's a lie. That's a very, 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 very big lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are many people that I know that didn't finish uni,
Mm-hmm.
that are super successful,
Mm-hmm.
much more than people that have finished uni and done really good grades. I was thinking about this. I went to a pretty decent high school, and the people that ended up doing quite well at high school, actually, I probably shouldn't say this because people might watch, but like it's the thing is, it's no determinant of success, actually. And also, what is the measure of success? Now that this is becoming philosophical again, but the measure of success shouldn't be actually one where you are necessarily like a big dog or a CEO of some company, or some person with heaps of, I don't know, articles to your name, or you're well-known and well-respected. Most of those people that end up in those positions, unless like there are rarities, right? Most of those people have sacrificed certain things to be able to get into those positions. It's not complete. You only see an aspect of that side, right? Question is, again, what is it that you are inclined to, or who are you as a person? Most people find themselves at the top and super lonely, right? Because they've had to cut, strategize, and not genuinely approach people. And they'll hit their 30s when they're there, and they've had to they've had to reevaluate their lives, right? My suggestion is actually to really go down and work on yourself, because it's actually healthier to actually, if anybody comes into your life, be wise enough to figure out the ones that are toxic, learn from them. Don't necessarily cut them out, put a hand's length away, but also encourage good people to be around you. Like, it's actually, I love game theory, right? So game theory, there's many different observations that you can get from game theory, but inherently, the premise is that if you work on your own, you will get some gains, right, in short games. You've got a lifetime. And in a lifetime, working with others is actually a better strategy than being a lone wolf, right? Lone wolves that play particular games on very short leashes can get a lot, right, from a situation, but your life could be decades. I mean, could be decades and decades, right? And people are getting older as well. You want to be in a situation when you're old and, senile, you finished all your work, like you've retired for a long time, and you've still got people in your life constantly, like looking, and, those things are important. Like, you want to be a complete person, not a person that once had a great job or once had great art. Like, what's the meaning of that? That's
yeah. That's something for everyone to think about. And like we often say that like happiness is like the goal of life, but sometimes it might not be true. Like stuff that you think might make you happy might not, you know. Yeah, so okay, so we're kind of like coming to an end of our interview, but I sort of want to ask you a few like really short questions, and they just rapid fire answers. What is the one? I forgot the question. What is the one privilege that you never overlook in your life?
Kindness from others.
It's always a big thing. And what sort of food do you like best? I know, hard question. Sorry.
All of it? What are you talking about?
All the food.
Food. Yeah. What kind of food? All of it. Yeah, all of it.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite drink then? lmao,
That's
top
also
3.
a hard question. That's also a hard question. Like I'm thinking, this can't be rapid fire. There's like bubble milk tea. I love cocktails. I love like whiskey. I love I even love the taste of different types of water. That's like ridiculous.
3 a.m. water, 6 p.m. water.
Yeah, totally different taste.
All right, then I will make you choose. And last one, do you have like a life lesson that you live by, or like a creed you live by? And if so, do you mind sharing it with us?
Yeah, be critical in everything, but be open to everything as well. So there is, I think, for me, I'd love to say that I'm critically thinking all the time, right? And questioning the underlying first principles of different things. I love first principles as well. Yeah, I think that's something that I live by, and that boils down to also who I am as well. So the exploration of who I am and how I relate to the rest of the world is something that I think about. So those 3 things I'm constantly thinking about, and that allows me then to move and step forward into the world. And it's a craft that I've been working on for a long time as well. So that's something that I would encourage everybody to think about, because it's very easy to lose one's way. As you get older, things get busier. You have responsibilities that come up responsibilities that come up. And if you forget who you are and you're critically thinking through problems and you're not questioning first principles of certain things, it's very easy to fall down the trap. Sorry about that. It's very easy to fall into the trap of echo chambers, I suppose, which everybody's knows about right now. But if you're thinking about all those things, you're able to be wise, you're able to lead, you're able to be more fulfilled in your life. So that's that. 3 things.
That's cool. Lots to take away from that. I kind of like that. That wasn't the last one. What do you want to have done 10 years from now?
10 years from now?
Yes, 10 years.
Oh,
anything, any kind of goal, like learn, like
any kind of goal.
Go somewhere. Read like 1,000 books. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's very easy to think of a hard subject. I'm like, that's a really hard question. All your questions are really hard. They're not rapid one response answers. Being able to sit down with the people that I'm mentoring right now and hear about their life. That's actually truly a goal of mine. Being able to sit down with the people that I am mentoring right now and hear about their life.
It's pretty cool. Pick their brains, munch their brains.
Yeah, and see whether some of the stuff I said was true or not, I suppose.
Yeah, and put it in practice. Won't be theoretical anymore. All right, thank you so much for spending time with us. I really appreciate you being here, and I'm sure a lot of people will learn a lot. Thank you for coming. See you guys next week.
Thanks, Renee.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.